Welcome back to Tight Lines. Now you might think that compression technology means wearing special socks on long haul flights, but now it means something very different. A few years ago, Andy Petherick had this brainwave that knots were unnecessary and set about proving it. The result is an exciting new business venture.
Over the years, how many genuine innovations have there been in the world of fishing tackle? Hundreds and hundreds, and an awful lot of them have come from right here in LYNX in Northumberland. Well, I'm here today to see the very latest of them, made by these fellas, LYNX. It's something that could be very, very exciting indeed. This is a business still in its infancy, created in a small unit on an industrial estate here in Northumberland with a mission to solve a problem that affects all anglers. What's the best way to attach a hook to the end of your line? There are thousands of knots out there, from the blood knot to the grinner, the Palomar and the Bimini twist, but they're all tied by human beings, and that means they're inconsistent. So here in LYNX they've solved the problem by abandoning knots in their ready-tied rigs completely.
What we have is at the base of the hook we have high carbon steel, chemically sharpened, exceptionally high quality hook, and then we have a specialist steel alloy then, which has taken us 3.5 years to develop, which is then joined with a very, very specialist, I'll call it a welding process. It's not quite welding, but essentially what you're doing is you're taking your round piece of nylon and you're then compressing it and then holding it. And what happens along the length of the compression joint is it's held in via friction, and then just behind then you have a wedge, which is kind of like a monkey's fist if you do any sailing, where basically it can't pull out. So it's friction and physics that essentially enable it to work.
It's clever stuff, this.
Thank you.
Who came up with it?
I went round New Zealand fishing for a couple of months with a friend of mine, Will Casella, and as any good lads trip would, we drank too much Jim Beam whiskey one night and decided to go and catch eels, and we caught some very, very big eels. Unhooking big eels is interesting at the best of times, and what we were finding is that we were losing a lot of hooks, or the hooks were being damaged in the unhooking process because they were fighting with us so much that we had to change the hooks. Due to our level of soberness, it probably wasn't the easiest process. The following morning, as we were driving to our next fishing spot, I just got thinking about ideas. And essentially, yeah, it started out with, I wonder if I could crimp it to the hook. But when I started to look at the physics and the actual engineering process, it's way beyond crimping. Because we've eliminated knots and crimps, we've also eliminated the need for eyes on components, so we can make things a lot neater. So small points to look at. This is, as I say, a twin treble trace. The wire itself terminates inside the component, you know, so it's less chance of it snagging up. There's less chance of the fish seeing it. There's no wire that's going to get stuck in your fingers. I've lost count the amount of times I've got wire stuck in my fingers when unhooking fish. The wire also passes straight through the treble because we no longer need eyes.
Let's just have a little look at the C rig. So explain what we're looking at here, please, Andy.
Here we have a standard 3-hook flapper rig, which has been made using precision compression technology. Key differences between this and a standard rig would be, number one, we don't use crimps. These are special cut down precision tubes that actually hold the swivels and the subsequent droppers then in place. In our testing of competitor product, we found that most of the rigs went, in fact all of them went, either at the knot or at the crimps. So these are 100% and don't damage the line in any way. You then have the swivel body at the top there. You then have the snood that comes down into the hook. You have a high carbon steel hook with a chemically sharpened point. You then have a stainless steel alloy, which is then welded to the, it's not actually a weld, but a weld is the best way of describing it. You then have the compression tube, where the line is actually secured via the compression and the friction and the wedge effect, as we discussed on the end. And you then have a line guide on the end, and that stops the line from wearing or shearing on the top of the tube.
The factory is just starting to buzz, with 48 locals employed here in a building which was earmarked for possible demolition before this new young business appeared. They've been given Dragon's Den-style funding by business investors, including the Duke of Northumberland. Almost, I would say 90% of fishing tackle these days is made in the Far East. Mm-hmm. Why are you based here? Why have you done the job here in Northumberland?
We are very proud of what we do in the northeast of England. We're very proud that we make the rigs in-house, and anything that we do is a premium product to warrant the handmade in LYNX England. And also, if you go to a factory in Asia and ask them to make you rigs, you know, you're part of a production schedule and you're something that just gets churned out, you know. And I'm not picking on anyone in particular, that's just the way it is. And also, basically because I'm proud of being British and I believe that we should return manufacturing to the UK, you know. I do strongly believe that, and I will do everything I can to keep our facility in England. I'm very proud of what we do here, and the passion shown by the guys that we've employed is, you know, just goes to show that they're up for it as well. So I'm really excited about it.
So this won't affect you, will it? Your knots are strong enough, aren't they? Well, that's what I thought. So, the idea that was conceived over a bottle of Jim Beam has been turned into something rather clever by this man here, Alan Yates, and we'll talk to Alan in a second. But we're just going to have a little bit of a testing of exactly the concept that these guys are working on. I've got here a fairly standard sea fishing hook and a length of 30-pound breaking strain monofilament, and I'm just going to tie a very simple blood knot, the kind of knot that most anglers would tie all the time. And I hope Keith's not going to have too many kittens when he sees me do this. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times around the main line, tag in through the loop, moisten the line down and pull it tight. Right then, here we go, the moment of truth for my knot. So Alan's just going to pop it in the vise. Just talk us through what you're doing.
Yeah, we're just going to clamp the hook in here with your knot. Make sure it's in there nice and solid, which it is. And then we're just putting this on a little bottom peg on the tensile machine. What we do is we put about half a dozen turns in there and then clamp it in place. So the only thing there we're testing is the knot itself.
Perfect.
This is the gauge here, which reads in pounds, and that records the maximum force. And we're just going to set that away, and we'll see what we get there.
And what we're of course looking for is for this to break around 30 pounds.
Well, I'd say it is 30-pound lines, so it'll be interesting to see what your knot achieves.
We're up to 4 pounds.
Up to 4, yeah, good
5.
start.
Here we go, it's starting to pigtail already. But it's about consistency, isn't it? I mean, there's no way you, as an angler, can pull the knot to the same degree of tension every single time.
8.8, that's it.
8.8 pounds, so that's 30-pound mono, which you expect to break at 30 pounds, and that's gone at the knot at 8 pounds. So there goes my fish of a lifetime.
And you were quite happy with that knot as well.
I was quite happy with that knot. I'm not anymore. Okay. Well, let's recalibrate the machine and let's see what one of your rigs does as well.
No problem. It's quite scary, the inconsistency of knots. It really, really is. I mean, you can get some good ones, but it is a bit of a lottery. You just don't know. That one's just starting to... just gone, yeah, 30.7. Sometimes they go at the component, sometimes they go in the middle of the line.
But at least if it's 30-pound line, it breaks at 30 pounds. Expansion is already planned, which could see this space occupied by up to 400 employees. Instantly, I'm looking at this as somebody who kind of has an interest in all different areas of angling, and I'm seeing a helicopter rig for carp fishing.
Yeah. You're not the first person to say that to us, and I agree with you. One of the best things about our technology is it's applicable to most, if not all, types of fishing. We decided to target initially the sea and also the predator markets with our range of rigs. Subsequently then we'll be launching with a range of carp tackle and also coarse tackle as well. We intended that, so hooks to nylon, and also, as I say, you know, like helicopter rigs and shod rigs and stuff like that. Yeah.
Now then, doesn't that all look very clever indeed? But I suppose the real test will come when we start slinging them into the water.